Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live.
Good health, everyone. We are here to, let me just do a mic check. We are here to, okay, great. That's a great mic check. We are here to finish out the book, Conversations with God. It's been a wonderful ride. I don't even know how long I've been reading this book. I love that we could read a book and not notice how long we've been reading it. And that is certainly what has happened with this book. So, Conversations with God. It's been enlightening. I have been very, very annoyed with Neil. There are several volumes, though. So, I'm thinking Neil would have gotten much better in the subsequent volumes. This was his first introduction to the metaphysical world, and he was talking directly to God. So he's very blessed to have had that experience, um, even though some of us are well beyond the lack of understanding. And so I think that got annoying to me. But if I would have read this book 20 years ago, I would have loved it. Um, in the beginning of my book series, I started out with, what's the name of that book? Embraced by the Light. And 20 years ago, you couldn't tell me that this book didn't change my life. You could not tell me that. But as I got more in my metaphysical world, I realized that the book was made with some personal inferences, that everything was not of God in the book. And so I got really annoyed with the book. And also, I won't suggest the book to anyone because I just want to make sure that something that I read is not about religion. So I'm not going to offer it up if it's religious based. And that's what I found. Now, is it her fault? No. That's all she knew was Catholicism, even though Catholicism really hurt her people. I believe in Canada, and I believe it was in Canada. And she looks white, but she's of Native American heritage, and so she's one of those many kids that were stolen by. Maybe it shouldn't be. I believe it was the Catholic Church or Presbyterian. Who knows? They pulled back the same, and was treated poorly at the church, at the school. They were stolen. And when I mean stolen, they convinced the parents that these kids relocating to these schools was in their best interest. So that was some bullshit. In any case, um, the series is still there, but as I finished the series, I just got more mad. I was like, oh, this is so not true. This is so not true. I did the same thing here with Neil, but less saying that's not true and more saying, Neil, get there with us. And yet God would say so many times in the book, I've explained this, I've explained this. So I love that God is like reminding Neil, you're not getting it, but guess what? I'll explain it again. And that's what I do like about the book. I don't have the patience to explain it again unless you're a 5-year old. But if you're an adult and I'm like, we talked about this already. And then if you add to it, like, yeah, I know, I'm like, oh, no, 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 you don't get to constantly hijack a conversation. Sometimes you're going to have to go out there and have an experience. But if you don't understand, I'm good. So I love that God stayed with Neil, right? I also think that Neil was very blessed to have these conversations with God. I don't know about you, but I would love to have these conversations with God. Um, and I feel like I do have conversations with spirit. I'm not always sure if it's God, but maybe it's all one and the same, right? Maybe that's the cool part, that the spiritual world is of God. So let me say hi to everyone. Hi, Rhonda. Hello. Lisa D. Grand Rising to everyone. Yay. Kathy, blessed morning. Tracy, I purchased Conversations with God. That's so funny. 1, 2, and 3. That's hilarious. That's hilarious, Rhonda. I was actually thinking about privately reading volume 2. I think God is like, you need more. You're so blessed. I do have conversations with God, even if it's with myself. No, there's no such thing as having conversations with God, even if it's within myself. You're just having conversations with God. So just accept it, Kathy. You are having conversations with God. I mean, what do you think happens with me? All of my conversations are by myself. It's crazy. I'm like, okay, God, I heard you. Okay, 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 I'll fix that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. My mom used to talk to herself. And when I was a kid, I was not verbal, right? You couldn't get me to talk when I was a kid. And so when a child doesn't talk, watch out. They are observing. Do not trust the child that won't talk. I'd rather a vibrant, movable child. That didn't happen. And so when my mom was talking to herself, I don't know if I appreciated her. I had no idea that she was metaphysical. I found out late in my 20s that she saw spirits, but she did not see kind spirits. So she would talk, I believe now, to them. And she used to say, she was so funny. She used to say, you know, I have a sixth sense. You know, I got this sixth sense. And I didn't understand any of that. I was like well into my 40s before I truly understood the gift. So it's interesting. It's so interesting. I love this world. I I love this world. I feel so blessed to be part of a system that is opposite of what everyone tells us we need to be. I love the wake up call to this world. I love TikTok and IG that has brought this world to the forefront. I love COVID. COVID had to take a lot of people, but COVID woke us up. And shame on others who is going back to a system that made them feel miserable. Now, the least you can do is come into the metaphysical world. You don't have to change the system that you're in. I'm not asking you to quit your jobs. I'm saying get into the metaphysical world. Your job will feel much better to you. Amen, says Kathy. Amen. Thank you, Tracy. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so excited for you, Rhonda. Okay, we are going to finish this book today. So excited to finally finish. I don't know how many weeks I've been doing this. We're on page 200. All right. And we're going to start with what makes you think infinity goes only one way? Let me see. Is that Neil or God? I think this might be God speaking. What makes you think infinity goes only one way? So there's no end going up any more than there is going down, says Neil. And God said, there is no up or down, but I understand your meaning. And Neil says, but if there is no end to smallness, that means there is no end to bigness. God goes, correct. But if there is no end to bigness, then there is no biggest. That means, in the largest sense, there is no God. Or perhaps, says God, all of it is God, and there is nothing else. God says, I tell you this, I am that I am. Do you guys remember Popeye? Always reminds me of Popeye. I want to know what the connection is between Popeye and God. I am that I am, and you are that you are. You cannot be. You can change form all you wish, but you cannot fail to be. Yet you can fail to know who you are, and in this failing, experience only the half of it. And Neil says, that would be hell. Exactly. Yet you are not condemned to it. You are not relegated to it forever. All that it takes to get out of hell, to get out of not knowing, is to know again. There are many ways and many places, dimensions in which you can do this. You are in one of those dimensions now. It's called, in your understanding, the third dimension. And there are many more. Have I not told you that in my kingdom there are many mansions? I would not have told it to you were it not so. Then there is no hell. Not really, says God. I mean, there's no place or dimension to which we are everlastingly condemned. What would be the purpose of that, says God? Yet you are always limited by your knowingness. For you, we are a self-created being. You cannot be what you do not know yourself to be. That is why you have been given this life, so that you might know yourself in your own experience. Then you can conceive of yourself as who you really are and create yourself as in your experience. And the circle is again complete, only bigger. And so you are in the process of growing, or as I put it throughout this book, becoming. There's no limit to what you can become. Neil goes, you mean I can become, dare I say it, a god? Just like you. See, this is where Neil upsets me. I'm going to calm down, but this is where Neil upsets me. Why would you want to be a god? Can't you see how big the responsibility that God has just being God, Neil? Oh my God. All right, I'm going to let God answer this. You mean I can even become, dare I say it, a god, just like you? And God goes, what do you think? And Neil goes, I don't know. And God goes, until you do, you cannot. Remember the triangle, the Holy Trinity, spirit, mind, body, conceive, create, experience. Remember, using your symbology. Holy Spirit equals inspiration equals conceive. Father equals parenting equals create. Son equals offspring equals experience. The Son experiences the creation of the fathering thought, which is conceived by the Holy Ghost. Can you conceive of yourself as one day being a God? And Neil goes, in my wildest moments. Good, says God. For I tell you this, you are already a God. You simply do not know it. Have I not said, ye are gods? Let's ponder that for a moment. Does anybody ever feel like a God or all knowing and then you feel guilty about it? Have you ever been shamed for knowing too much? Have people ever asked you, how do you know that? And you're like, "Oh, I just do. Have you ever gotten into trouble because you just know too much? Or people think you're a know it all because you know too much? Do you then feel guilty about knowing too much and so you shrink yourselves? This is what I like about nerds, right? Nerds stay within their system of knowing too much. But then also, what you notice is that nerds hang around nerds. Because in their godlike system of knowing too much, you can't take it away from them. I know me personally, spiritually, I know too much. And then when I share what I know, people don't think I know it, but I see them get upset with me. And it's okay. It's okay. I do have an answer for everything, but only because I reach deep down inside and I ask for God to give me the answer. And then when I get the answer, whatever the answer is, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so reasonable. Okay, I'll say something. I'll say it. So I think this is just me paraphrasing what God said. I think the knowing of God to be God ourselves is the trust in spirit that whatever answers we get, to trust it. Now, there are crazy people out there, right? So, of course, we don't want to appear like the crazy, right? The one where, well, the dog told me to kill everybody, right? Then you're like, yeah, well, that's all right. That's not how it works. That's not God, even though they say it's God. It's not God. Well, God told me to kill everybody. He's like, ugh, all right, you really need to be locked up. Like, I'm not playing with you, right? And the reason for that is, do you think that they are not talking to God? Do you think there's a part of their spirituality that is not talking to God? But does ego get in the way, right? There's a fine line between conversations with God and crazy. fine line. And the interesting part is, most people don't know they're crazy. I mean, really crazy, where it's like, well, the dog is talking to me. You get what I'm saying? Hi, Stacy. Hi, Lon. Hi, Elowen. Good morning. All right. You know you've been having conversations with God. You're just afraid to tell people. I wouldn't be so quick to tell people either. I would just stand with God in my spirit. I would just stand there and I would speak accordingly without having to say crazy things like, well, had a conversation with God and God said, do this. Or how do we talk to feel safe as of lately? We go, wow, spirit, right? We don't actually put God in front of spirit. Spiritually, it's safe, right? All right. I don't know if I make sense sometimes, guys. I hope I'm making sense. Chapter 14. There, now. I have explained it all for you. Life, how it works, its very reason and purpose. How else can I serve you? There's nothing more I could ask. I believe this is Neil. I am filled with thanks for this incredible dialogue. It's been so far reaching, so encompassing. And as I look at my original question, I see we've covered the first 5, having to do with life and relationships, money, careers, and health. I had more questions on that original list, as you know, but somehow these discussions make those questions seem irrelevant. And God said, yeah, still, you've asked them. Let's just quickly answer the remaining of them one by one. Now that we're moving this rapidly through the material. And Neil goes, what material? And God goes, the material I brought you here to expose to you. Now that we're moving this rapidly through the material, let's just take those remaining questions and deal with them quickly. 6. What is the karmic lesson I'm supposed to be learning here? What am I trying to master? And God says, you are learning nothing here. You have nothing to learn. You have only to remember that this, remember me. What are you trying to master? You're trying to master mastering itself. 7. Is there such a thing as reincarnation? How many past lives have I had? Was I in them? Is karmic debt a reality? Okay, this is a good one, guys. So listen up. Because people like to throw karma on other people, but don't do that. And God goes, it's difficult to believe that there is still a question about this. I find it hard to imagine. There have been so many reports from thoughtful, reliable sources of past life experiences. Some of these people have brought back strikingly detailed descriptions of events and such completely verifiable data as to eliminate any possibility that they were making it up or had contrived to somehow deceive researchers and loved ones. You have had 647 past lives. Since you insist on being exact, says God, this is your 648th. You were everything in them: a king, a queen, a serf, a teacher, a student, a master, a male, female, a warrior, a pacifist, a hero, a coward, a killer, a savior, a sage, a fool. You have been all of it. No, there is no such thing as karmic debt. not in the sense that you mean in this question. A debt is something that you must or should be repaid. You are not obligated to do anything. Still, there are certain things that you want to do, to choose to experience, and some of these choices hinge on the desire for them has been created by what you have experienced before. That is as close as words can come to this thing you call karma. If karma is the innate desire to be better, to be bigger, to evolve and grow, and look at past experiences as a measure of that, then yes, karma exists. See, I never thought of karma that way. I don't believe personally that everyone gets their karma. I don't believe that. I believe that people live and sometimes they walk to their demise, right? That's what I believe. I believe people live, they make mistakes, they don't forgive themselves, right? Because we want to have others forgive us, right? We want to be loved through our mistakes. And I believe that when we don't get it from the outside world, then we create our own karma. We decide that we are imperfect and we can never make up for past experiences. I don't believe that. I believe you create your own living hell and your own unforgiving self. I think if you've done something wrong, apologize. Apologize to the sky. Go to the tree and apologize to the tree. Whatever your memories are, apologize to God. And then relive from that point of apology. And if something comes up where you're like, oh, damn, I feel like I did this wrong, God, apologize to God, the universe, the trees, the sky, the clouds. Fuck it. Apologize to the little fucking lizards that are out there. Just apologize to something. And then start living again from that apology. The thing about the apology I learned is that you don't have to apologize to the person. That's what I've learned. You apologize to the person because of them revisiting the experience they had with you. And that's why you apologize. You're like, okay, that made you, whatever I did, I'm sorry, right? The minute you say I'm sorry, you erase all karma. So some of you adults that have children, when your children come to you and when your children say, didn't like that about you when I was 10, don't get on the defense. Just say to that kid, you're right, I'm sorry. You know what I've noticed? People don't really want to hear the apology. That's the funny part. But you're still apologizing for two people, you and them. Now, what if they're no longer around, right? What if a memory comes back and you're like, man, I don't think I was a good person back when I was communicating with that person. What yesterday? Okay, yesterday. Oh my God. I went to the post office. And as of lately, when I see homeless people, I always talk to God and I go, God, please do not let them ask me for money. I don't know why I've been doing that lately, but this is honest Tracy, right? And sure enough, if I say that, the homeless people, they don't even see me. So yesterday, I was sitting in my car trying to package my oils and get them out at the UPS. And the homeless man came up and he made a beeline to me. His eyes, not physically, made a beeline and he just stood there. And I said, God, please do not let him ask me for money. So I got out the car. He didn't ask me for money because that's one of my rules. One of my rules is ask, right? I've got these weird rules inside my head. Don't listen to me, but they're just crazy. So he didn't even look at me. And I was like, oh, thank you, God. I paid for the oils to be shipped. I came out and I see him asking a woman for money. And I said to God, so he was asking for money? Because sometimes you think, oh, the homeless is just like standing there. They don't want anything. They're just like maybe walking too long and they're just standing there. And so I get out and I was like, oh, he was asking for money? Thinking God had granted my answer, but I didn't know that. In any case, he's there asking for money. And the woman goes, oh my God, it was so funny. The woman goes, stop peeing all over the place. Stop peeing. He wasn't peeing, but I didn't want to get involved. He goes, stop peeing all over the place. Stop peeing. Pee in the grass. Do not pee here. And I was like, in my mind, talking to God again, I was like, but he wasn't peeing. So what? I always ask God, like, what are you showing me when you show me this? Right? What am I supposed to learn from this experience? I got away. He didn't ask me for money. He really was because by the way, I could have gone in UPS, put my packages through and taken $5 back. Mind you, I could have done that. But he didn't ask me for money like I requested. And so I get back and he was asking for money. And I was like, and in that moment I forgot. And I was like, why didn't he ask me for money? I wouldn't have yelled at him like that. I wouldn't have said, go pee somewhere. But he wasn't peeing. Was he probably the most scrappy homeless person in town? Yes. And she ripped him a new one. So she goes inside the building and she comes out and she starts yelling at him again about this pee. And I was like, there's no pee here, God. There's no pee. And I just got in my car and backed out. Was I supposed to do something in that moment? Who knows? Did I fail a test in that moment? I don't know. I can't answer the craziest of questions. What was I supposed to learn? Do you guys know what I was supposed to learn in that experience? Because I totally missed it. Getting to another part of this. What if I were that person that told a homeless person off? What if I was the one that was like, get out of here, you homeless person. This is disgusting. And what if 2 years later, I remembered that moment? Right? And then I want to say, my God, how could I have been so cruel to that homeless person? Right? Now, most of us are not going to meet, although I do have to tell you, homeless people live in the same circumference. They don't move far, the homeless. They're on the same corner, at the same supermarkets. They don't move far. But what if I said to God, this memory hurts me. I was not a kind person. What if that were me? I was not a kind person. Help me to fix my ugly. Right? What if I never meet up with this homeless person ever again? All I have to do is apologize to God. That's all I have to do. Now, does that mean you can go out there and be a bitch? No, it doesn't work like that, TD Jakes. You can't just go to Diddy's party and sleep with, I don't know what, allegedly, and then go, the blood of Jesus will forgive me. It doesn't work like that, right? You have to talk to Jesus, to God, to universe, to the cloud, to the sky. And like you can't wait because you know the blood of Jesus is going to forgive you. You have to be like, I was fucked up, sleeping around at Diddy's party. I mean, maybe I didn't recognize it when it was happening, but I'm having a come to Jesus moment, and I was pretty fucked up. Forgive me, God, for talking to that homeless person that way. Oh, Stacy, I get it. My son said I said something to him, which I don't believe I said it, but I could have. And my son said, "Oh, it's possible." He said, "You called me gay." And I was like, "Did I?" He might have been like 10. Back in the day, it was an expression. That's so gay. You're so gay. It was an expression. Thank God we walked out of that expression. But he remembered it, right? So he's now 33 and he's like, "You called me gay." And I was like, "Did I?" And then in the instant it came to me, I saw it. I heard myself. I was there. I remembered in that instant. And I said to him, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I didn't even bring up that it was an expression back in the day. No, I was just said, "I'm sorry. You're right. I remember that. I'm sorry." And he wanted to be angry, but he paused for a minute. He was like, "Oh, he didn't expect me to say sorry." Yeah, that's spiritual maturity when you actually can say, "Yeah, that was pretty fucked up. What I did, what I said. I'm sorry." You know what's funny about saying sorry? Like really, really funny. There's no emotions attached to it. That is the more funny part than ever. When you say sorry to someone, it's so real, even for you, that there's no emotions attached to it. You believe them. You believe their pain. You believe where they're at. When you get there in terms of understanding emotional responsibility, and we all get there, guys. Sometimes we're forced to get there, and that's the blessing. And so when you do say you're sorry, you're not even begging for it. You're like, "Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry about that." I don't go into any big explanation when I need to say sorry. I'm like, "Yep, I did do that. Sorry." Now, beyond that, it's up to you to figure out whether my sorry is real. You know what Oprah says? Talking about never apologizing. Oprah says, if I made you feel a certain type of way, then I'm sorry. It's a play on words. I will literally say, "I'm sorry." Oprah goes, "If I made you feel," people are talking to you because you made them feel a certain way. What are you not understanding? "If I made you feel that way, then I'm sorry." No, you're a calculated bitch, Oprah. Okay, I'm sorry I said that about you, Oprah. Yes, I let them talk and express their memories and their feelings. You did. That's a good mommy. And I listened, right? And sometimes you have to listen without explanation. I was grown, like 28, 29, when I said to my mom, "I had the worst childhood because of you. The beatings were horrific." And my mom looked me dead in the eye and said, "I never beat you." I said, "Oh, Lord." I was like, "Do you not remember?" And she goes, "It never happened." And I said, "Okay." Never brought it up again. Now, whether or not she had a different reality than mine, you can't make this shit up. I just thought, I don't know if I'm going to stay angry with her because she needs to hide how badly she treated me. That's the way I felt. And I was like, I'm just going to let her hide in it. I don't care. I need to move on. I need to get mentally healthy. And I don't need her to acknowledge. What I understood in the moment was that I needed to tell her that I knew what she did. I didn't need her acknowledgement, nor that I need her sorrow or pity for me. I just moved on. I was like, okay, we're good. You good? I'm good. All right. Moving on. So God said you had 647 past lives. This is your 648. There's no such thing as karma debt. Still, there are certain things that you want to do, choose to experience, and some of these choices hinge on the desire for them has been created by what you have experienced before. That is, closest words can come to this thing called karma. If karma is the innate desire to be better, to be bigger, to evolve, and to grow, and to look at past events and experience as a measure of that, then yes, karma exists. Now, this reminds me, but it does not require, nothing is ever required. You are, as always, you have ever been, of being a free choice. So this reminds me of something that was put in group. Let me just read that again. There's no such thing as karma debt. A debt is something that must or should be repaid. Still, let's see. If karma is the innate desire to be better, to be bigger, to evolve and grow, and to look at past events, experiences as a measure of that, then yes, karma does exist. So karma exists to be better. You guys should write this down. Karma exists to evolve. Karma exists to grow and to look at past events and experience as a measure of that, meaning to grow. So, what if we took the word karma and switched it up to grow? So, someone put in group feed, it's very profound. I don't know if everybody got it, but I got it. Let me see if I can find it now. It's very interesting. I should have taken a copy of it, but now I gotta look for it. It's very profound. Let me just see. Okay, let me just say, I'm going to repeat this at Lisa. Okay. So the use of words. So when you think someone is getting their karma, because it's really funny, because I had that wished upon me recently. They're like, "You're gonna get your karma," and I'm like, "How?" I mean, the best thing you could do is wish, like out loud, wish karma on somebody, and it falls to the ground. Better to keep your mouth shut and be like, mm. But when you say it, I can eradicate that wish for you. It cannot happen once you tell me, right? And so, let me see. Okay, so it has something to do with the plant nettle, which I have some, and I just made some nettle, oregano, thyme tea this morning. I just made it. So it says, you are able to energetically separate yourself from others. Use nettle to defend your space and your personal energy field. Because of the connection with spinning and weaving to nettle, this is a wonderful plant to turn to when you want to weave your own power words. Power words are incredibly easy and effective tools to use in a situation where you would like to protect yourself energetically, emotionally, and mentally. Words like love, um, I believe, or peace are still great power words, but there are many more. Often, your power word is the opposite to what is happening. If someone is irritating you, your power word could be calm. If you're being drained, focus on the word invincible. Whereas if feeling dark, concentrate on the word light. You can repeat the word silently over and over if this helps you to focus. It's unbelievably quick, and you can restore and recenter your spiritual energy, reset your mindset, reset your emotions in a few minutes. And then, as validation, because I always kind of like expect validation. In the book, it says the same thing about karma. So, for one, never wish karma on anyone. For one, don't even say, well, they got their karma. What do you care? Leave it alone. But if karma is the innate desire to be better, right? Isn't that what we expect? They got their karma because they didn't do right. So if it's the innate desire to be better, to be bigger, to evolve and to grow, and to look at past events and experiences as a measure of that, then yes, karma does exist. So when karma shows up like it did for me recently, oh my God, I was so tickled black because, like the power of words, I know how to turn that around. And so when it was thrust upon me, I was like, cancel their words and God, let me be better. Cancel their words and God, let me be better. Although I was not given grace for anyone to acknowledge that better can come, which I found that interesting. I was like, there's a belief system in all of us, not just what happened to me. There's a belief system in all of us that someone cannot change. But I turned it around immediately. I was like, cancel that ugly, let it fall to the ground, and God, let me be better. Now, no one has to believe in me. I'm not looking to you to believe in me. I'm looking to myself to do better. Ciao. But it does not require anything. Nothing is ever required. You are always you have ever been of being a free choice. 8. I sometimes feel very psychic. Is there such a thing as being psychic? Am I that? Are people who claim to be psychic trafficking with the devil? Oh my God, I'm going to smack Neil. I'm just going to smack him. I'm so God is God talking to him because this would not turn out well if we were having a one-to-one human conversation. I'd be like, you dummy. I'm sorry. See, I still got growing to do. I fail every time. But I get back up and I try again. Because God lets me get back up and try again. All right. And he goes, yes, there is such a thing as being psychic. Jesus was a psychic. I added that. You are that. Everyone is that. There's not a person who does not have what you call psychic ability. There are only people who do not use it. Using psychic ability is nothing more than using your sixth sense. Remember I told you my mom used to say that? You know, Tracy, I've got my sixth sense. I'd be like, I know you do, Mom. I know. She was really good at her sixth sense. Um, Using psychic ability is nothing more than your sixth sense. Obviously, this is not trafficking with the devil, or I would not have given this sense to you. And of course, there is no devil to whom to traffic. Someday, perhaps in book 2, I'll explain to you exactly how psychic energy and psychic ability works. Oh, Lord. This is going to make me buy book 2. And Neil goes, there's going to be a book 2? And he goes, yes. Well, let's finish this one first, says God. 9. Is it okay to take money for doing good? Hell yeah. If I choose to do healing work in the world, God's work, can I do that and become financially abundant? Yes. I'm sorry. I'm not God. I'm answering. Fuck that. Yes. Or are the two mutually exclusive? Can I tell you something before God answers? Here's what I've learned. When I give people free readings, they never show up on time. When you give them something for free, it's never appreciated. When you give your children money, they should have to work for it, or they never, ever appreciate it. They see you as a fucking bank account. They have to work for the money, even if it's begrudgingly. I want to give money to my grandson, but I can't, because I can't figure out how to give it to him and allow him to work for it. So I stay out of the parenting business, and maybe one day when he's 16, he'll understand that he needs something. He'll ask me for it, and I'll be like, well, you have to do a job for the money. So, with all that being said, pay your psychic, pay your healer, pay your medium, pay your shamans, pay. Because you, as a human being, do not appreciate the work until you put it in. And then you know what else I noticed? Because this happens to me in book club. My book club is free. And I've had the worst people in book club. And it's free. It's been free for 6 or 7 years. And yet somebody else will say, pay $500, pay $25, and y'all will pay it. Because if it's free, it's not valued. And so I finally got the memo that I was not being valued, and I gave up book club. Because what I have to offer is so in depth and so profound and so spiritual. And to have motherfuckers in there not paying, trying to be like, I don't know. I was just like, give up the ghost. Like, what am I doing here? Give up the ghost. They're not the journey. I don't know. I just was like, I gotta go, guys. And working at the hotel is what made me give up the book club. And ironically, I don't work at the hotel anymore. So ironically, in hindsight, because they did ask God, what the hell am I doing at this hotel? This is, although I love working at the hotel, it was like so much fun. But I did ask God, what the hell am I doing here? And now in hindsight, when you let time go by, the hotel got me out of the space of the book club. And now I don't participate in a hotel because the hotel did its purpose. Pay your psychics, people. Is it okay to take money for doing good? And God goes, I already covered this. Oh, he didn't answer. Huh. When did he cover this? All right, 10. Is sex okay? Oh my God. All right, before God answers, let me tell you something. Stop being celibate, you crazy ass women. Get a penis inside of you. Fuck everybody if they see you as, oh, she has a lot of boyfriends. Yes, I'm getting plugged. No different than a man goes out there and cheats on his wife. You are allowed to be a sexual being. You are allowed to be respected. You are not a hoe because you have sex. I tell my clients all the time, like, Tracy, I'm celibate. Why? Because I've been so hurt in the past. Oh, fuck that. Go out and have sex. Nothing feels better. All right. But I don't mean to have like unsafe sex. There's a lot of diseases out there and whatever. Is sex okay? Come on. What is the real story behind this human experience? The human experience is that God gave us sex. And without sex, we can't have children. Although the doctors are trying really hard to change that narrative, but the technicality is it is the best form, best way to have children. And that's why sex is there, to get the sperm in there. All right, I'm over it. Is sex purely for procreation? No, it's a pleasurable act. Is true holiness and enlightenment achieved through denial, transmutation of the sexual energy? Oh my God. Is it okay to have sex without love? Yeah. Is just the physical sensation of it okay enough as a reason? Yes. All right, now this is God talking. Of course, sex is okay. Again, if I didn't want you to play certain games, I wouldn't have given you the toys. Do you give your children things you don't want them to play with? Play with sex. Play with it. It's wonderful, fun. Why? It's just about the most fun you can have with your body if you're talking of strictly physical experiences alone. But for goodness sake, don't destroy sexual innocence and pleasure and the purity of the fun, the joy by misusing sex. Don't use it for power or hidden purpose, for ego gratification or dominion, for any purpose other than the purest joy and the highest ecstasy given and shared, which is love. And love recreated, which is new life. Have I not chosen a delicious way to make more of you? With regard to denial, I have dealt with that before. Nothing holy has ever been achieved through denial. Yes, desires change as even larger realities are glimpsed. It is not unusual, therefore, for people to simply desire less or even no sexual activity, or for that matter, any of a number of activities of the body. For some, the activities of the soul become foremost and by far the most pleasurable. That means if you're trying to grow your soul, then it's okay not to have sex, but really grow your soul. Each to its own without judgment. That is the motto. The end of your question is answered this way. You don't need to have a reason for anything. Just be cause. Be the cause of your experience. Remember, the experience produces concept of self. Conception produces creation. Creation produces experience. You want to experience yourself as a person who has sex without love? Go ahead. You'll do that until you don't want to anymore. And the only thing that could ever cause you to stop this or any behavior is your new emerging thought about who you are. It's as simple and as complex as that. 11. Why did you make sex so good? It really is good, people. So spectacular, says Neil. Neil's having an orgasm in front of God. So powerful of a human experience. If all we are to do is stay away from it as much as, oh my God, Neil, what gives for the matter? Why are all fun things either immoral, illegal, or fattening? I had hope for Neil, but these hopes just dashed. And God goes, I've answered the end of this question too with what I've just said. All fun things are not immoral, illegal, or fattening. Your life is, however, an interesting exercise in defining what is fun. To some, fun means sensation of the body. To others, fun means something entirely different. It all depends on who you think you are and what you are doing. There is so much more to be said about sex than being said here, but nothing more essential than this. Sex is joy. And many of you have made sex everything else but. Sex is joy. Sex is sacred too, but joy and sacredness do mix. They are, in fact, the same thing. And many of you think they do not. Your attitudes about sex formed a microcosm of your attitudes about life. Life should be a joy, a celebration, and has become an experience of fear, anxiety, not enoughness, envy, rage, tragedy. The same can be said about sex. That's really funny. I never knew that. You have repressed sex even as you have repressed life, rather than fully expressing with abandoned joy. You have shamed sex even as you have shamed life, calling it evil and wicked, rather than the highest gift and the greatest pleasure. Before you protested that you have not shamed life, look at your collective attitudes about it. 4/5 of the world's people consider life a trial, a tribulation, a time of testing, a karmic debt that must be repaid, a school with harsh lessons that must be learned, and in general, an experience to be endured while awaiting the real joy, which is after death. It is a shame that so many of you think this way. Small wonder you have applied shame to the very act which creates life. The energy which underscores sex is the energy which underscores life, which is life. The feeling of attraction and the intense and often urgent desire to move toward each other, to become one, is the essential dynamic of all that lives. I have built into everything. It is inbred, inherited inside all that is. The moral codes, religious constrictions, social taboos, and emotional conventions you have placed around sex, and by the way, around love and all of life, have made it virtually impossible for you to celebrate your being. From the beginning of time, all man has ever wanted is to love and be loved. And from the beginning of time, man has done everything in his power to make it impossible to do that. Sex is an extraordinary expression of love. Love of another, love of self, love of life. You ought to therefore love it. And you do. You just can't tell anyone you do. You don't dare show how much you love it, or you'll be called a pervert. Yet this is the idea that is perverted. Sex is good, people. As a matter of fact, if some of you got partners, like, play with each other tonight. Be sensual with each other tonight. Just go for some sensual way of having sex. Reinvent sex in your mind. Change it up to joy. Imagine how much better sex would be. In our next book, we should look at sex much more closely, explore its dynamics in greater details. But this experience and an issue of sweeping implications, it's on a global scale. But for now, and for you personally, simply know this. I have given you nothing shameful, least of all your very body and its functions. There is no need to hide your body or its functions. Remember, Adam and Eve started out naked. There's no need to hide your body and your functions. And you guys know I will come on my morning show and I will talk about boo boo and toilet and how much I enjoy boo booing. That now sometimes, child, boo-booing can feel like sex. Anybody feel that way? You have a good dump, and as it's coming out, it seems very like pleasure. Okay, it does. It seems like you ever push out, and it's like, whoo, that was good. Does anybody enjoy their dumps? Because I really enjoy mine. It's one of the best pleasures. All right, moving on. Think about it. Let me see. In the next book, we shall talk about sex. But for now, for you, so you know, I have given you nothing shameful, least of all your very body and its functions. There is no need to hide your body or its functions, nor your love of them and of each other. Your television program thinks nothing of showing naked violence, but shrink from showing you naked love. Your whole society reflects that priority. Interesting. 12. Is there life on other planets? Okay, God, I'm ready for this answer. Now, that's the question I would have asked from jump. Have we been visited by it? Are we being observed now? Will we see evidence, irrevocable and disputable, of extraterrestrial life in our lifetime? Does each form of our life have its own God? Are you the God of it all? Well, I hate that Neil asked that question because God said he's of God, and that the universe was of either 4 or 7 quadrants, something like that, in the book. And God goes, yes to the first part, yes to the second part, yes to the third. Is there life on the planet? Yes. Have you been visited by it? Yes. Are we being observed now? Yes. I cannot answer the fourth since that would require me to predict the future, something I am not going to do. Will we see evidence? We will, however, talk a great deal more about this thing called the future in Book 2, and we'll talk about extraterrestrial life and the natures of God in Book 3. Oh my gosh, there's going to be a Book 3. Let me outline the plan here. Book 1, it contains basic truths, primary understandings, and address essential personal matters and issues. Book 2 is to contain more far-reaching truths, grander understanding, and address global matters and issues. Book 3 is to contain the largest truth you are now capable of understanding and address universal matters and issues, matters being dealt with by all the beings of the universe. I see, says Neil. This is an order. No, if you can't ask the question, you have understood nothing in this book. You have chosen to do the work, and you have been chosen. The circle is complete. Do you understand? Neil says yes. 13. Will utopia ever come to planet Earth? Will God ever show himself to the Earth's people as promised? Did he really promise that? And he did show himself to the Earth's people. Is there such a thing as the second coming? Okay, I have a theory on the second coming. Okay, there is such a thing as the second coming. And Jesus keeps coming. Jesus is Mother Teresa. Jesus is Mahatma Gandhi. Jesus is Martin Luther King. Jesus is, what's another spiritual leader? Or Asians. Jesus, to me, keeps showing up. The second coming of Christ keeps showing up. Jesus just goes to different cultures to show himself. That's all. Will there ever be an end of the world on a apocalyptic as prophesied in the Bible? Is there one true religion? So God never said there's going to be the end of the world. God said there's going to be the end to the way we think. He doesn't quite say it's the end of the world. It's called revelations. Things get revealed. Not everybody's going to die, but God may keep around those enlightened souls. All right. That's a book in itself and will comprise much of Volume 3. I've kept this opening volume limited to more personal matters, more practical issues. God's not talking about it. I'll move to larger questions and matters of global and universal implications in succeeding installments. Is that it? Is that all for now, Sis Neil? Are we to speak no more here? God goes, you miss me already? And Neil goes, I do. This has been fun. Are we quitting now? And God goes, you need a little rest. And your readers need a rest too. There's a lot here to absorb, a lot to wrestle with, a lot to ponder. Yeah, take some time off, reflect on it, ponder it. Do not feel abandoned. I'm always with you. If you have questions, day-to-day questions, as I know you do, even now, we'll continue. Know that you can call on me to answer. You do not need to form. You do not need the form of this book. This is not the only way I speak to you. Listen to me in the truth of your soul. Listen to me in the feelings of your heart. Listen to me in the quiet of your mind. Hear me everywhere. Whenever you have a question, just simply know that I have answered it already. Like the homeless guy, I was like, God, please don't let him ask me for money. And God was like, fine. And he totally ignored me. You're welcome, Rhonda. This is not only the way I speak to you. Listen to me in the truth of your soul. Listen to me in the feelings of your heart. Listen to me in the quiet of your mind. I get most of my answers from God 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, why am I up, God? And sure enough, the information comes flooding in. Hear me everywhere. Whenever you have a question, simply know that I have answered it already. Then open your eyes to the world. My response could be in an article already published. Oh my God, this is so true. And the sermon already written, about to be delivered. And the movie now being made. And the song just yesterday composed. And the words about to be said by a loved one. And the heart of a new friend about to be made. That happens a lot with readings where I'll say something and somebody will say, oh my God, I just said that to a friend, to validate your feelings. My truth is in the whisper of the wind or the snowstorm. Listen. The babble of the brook, the crack of the thunder, the tap of the rain. It is the feel of the earth, the fragrance of the lily, the warmth of the sun, and the pull of the moon. My truth and your surest help in time of need is as awesome as the night sky and is simply incontrovertibly trustful as a baby's gurgle. It is as loud as the pounding heartbeat, and as quiet as breath taken in unity with me. God says, I will not leave you. I cannot leave you, for you are my creation and my product and my daughter and my son, and you're my purpose, and you are my self. Call on me, therefore, wherever and whenever you are separate from the peace I am. I'll be there with truth and light and love. the beginning. That was nice. That was very nice. All right, guys. I don't know how many weeks we've been on this, and I didn't measure how many weeks, but I don't know, Neil. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Guys, I've had this book, I'm going to tell you right now, since coming back to California, and I was working out of a psychic store, and I remember being told, get this book. There might have been other volumes there. Can't remember because I feel like I did see the other volumes, but it was a used bookstore that had psychics in the store. And I saw this book, Conversations with God, and I remember Spirit saying, take the book. So this book has carried me from apartment to apartment, country to country, and I've had it since 2006, so almost 20 years, and I'm just reading it now. I don't think I would have been grown enough spiritually to have read this book. It's good to be 60, child. All right, let's begin the company of prophets. Extrasensory experience in the African American culture. Company of Prophets describes a variety of past and present expressions of African American intuitivity. African Americans who possess defined extrasensory perception, spiritual awareness, and psychic abilities discuss the nature of their gifts. Represented in the 121 persons surveyed are a range of lifestyles, economic and educational background, philosophical outlooks, religious practices, and age group. Exemplifying these are artists, teachers, housewives, children, ministers, activists, authors, and professional psychics. Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, George Washington Carver, Mary Church Terrell, Howard Thurman, and Richard Bott are examples of the historical and contemporary persons included. In an anecdotal framework, their experiences are largely related via direct quotes from research sources of personal interviews. The struggles they face in growing up with special qualities, adjusting to their uniqueness, and handling the attendant hardships and privileges are entailed. The subjects discuss their efforts to use their psychic faculties to improve conditions in life for themselves, their families, and society. Each chapter addresses a different attribute of intuitivity. The psychic faculties are explained and defined through the subject's own descriptions. The reader is afforded an opportunity to assess and affirm parallel faculties in his or her own life, and also receives an overview of various forces of extrasensory perception in the contents of the African American culture. The book educates additionally via metaphysical principles and the philosophical concepts from the subject's perspective. Company of Prophets, I don't know why I'm stuttering, features the author's prose poetry reflective of her own psychic experiences. Several psychic teachers and the author briefly explore the significance of the ancient spiritual roots in African American cultures. These roots reside in the mass consciousness of the Black culture, and from their source exists a potential for generating a cleansing and a major spiritual resurgence in the group of consciousness of African Americans. About the author, one of 7 children of African American parents who migrated north from Virginia in the 1930s, Joyce Elaine Knoll grew up in East Harlem in New York City. She moved to San Francisco Bay Area in 1959 to complete her undergraduate studies at San Francisco State University. In 1971, she received a master's degree in social work at the University of California at Berkeley. As a social worker, she has counseled and provided varied supported services through public agencies and hospitals. Since undergoing a period of intense spiritual distress nearly a quarter of a century ago, Joyce has been consciously working on gaining spiritual insight and understanding. She is a student of religious and metaphysical disciplines and has received and given counseling and self-development through which she has gained personal knowledge of psychic phenomena. Joyce is married to an educator who is also a metaphysical teacher in writing. Wow, that's what I want. I want a metaphysical man. In addition to writing, counseling, and creating stone sculptures, Joyce manages an active family life. She has 2 daughters, a son, 3 stepdaughters, and 4 step-grandchildren. We cannot guarantee that every letter written to the author can be answered, but it will be forwarded. The author sometimes participates in seminars and workshops. All right, apparently you can, which is so stupid, but this is back in the day, you can contact Joyce Elaine Knoll through the Llewellyn New Times, P.O. Box 64383-583, St. Paul, Minnesota, area code 55164-0383. I wonder if she's still living. This book looks like its first publication was back in 1940. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of talking to myself. All right, I think I'm going to stop here. We will begin next week with, let me show you guys, Company of Prophets. And be patient with me, right? Because I too am reading it for the first time with you. So be patient with me as I try to navigate what this is. And we're starting with, which why wouldn't we start with children? Chapter 1 is children with power. Why wouldn't we start with children? If you look at my video last night on Jonathan Majors and whether or not the movie Lovecraft and the spirits from that movie Lovecraft helped him have DC Comics give him a $20 million deal. First of all, the answer to that from last night was yes. And then my grandson called. And what a profound, enlightening child. Not just because he's my grandchild. I think I would say this about any child if they would have come across the way my grandson came across. And so I'm excited to read Children with Power because these galactic kids, oh, good, you downloaded your copy? Yes! These galactic kids are not taking the bullshit. And these pandemic kids, I don't even know what they plan on doing. The galactic kids are paving the way. And they will pair up with the pandemic kids. So, yeah. We will read the first chapter. There's a preface first, which I'm thinking about reading, but I might read it separately to see if I want to read it. Or I might just start with the children with power. Wow. All right, guys, I'm going to end here. I think we've done a wonderful job. Kathy says, love the reading and time spent with you, all the wonderful folks. Thank you. Yes, Stacy, it's a PDF. So look up. It has to be, do not put the in front of it. That's a totally different set of books. Company of Prophets. Let me write it down so that you guys know exactly. Oh, God. Gotta deal with this. Hold on a second. Oh, so the name of it is Company of Prophets. Put capital letter here. Oh, shoot, capital P. Company of Prophets by Joyce Elaine No. Just put Company of Prophets and then PDF, and it'll show you all the examples of sites that have the PDF. And I think one of the places that I found that they had the PDF was Abe Books. Abe Books, I believe, has the PDF. So download it before they decide to start charging you all. Okay? Company of Prophets, Joyce Elaine No, and then put in PDF. Because this book is nowhere to be found. And I think it's off the market because it teaches Black folks how powerful they are. There's no reason for this to be pulled off the market. Seriously, guys. Do you know how they do us? There's Internet Archive that has it. wildheartbotanica.com that has the PDF only. And it says Company of Proverbs is a book that every Black and or Indigenous intuitive needs in their collection. Don't go to Amazon. They're selling it for like $400. 8Books has the PDF. No, 8Books has the book for $297. Let me see. Oh, this is I gotta get back onto something. By Company of Prophets. Etsy may have it, but I don't know for how much. Pinterest may have it, but I don't know for how much. Perligo, download books online PDF. Let's see. To buy it is really hard though. I actually got the book for $35 and I thought that was a lot, but it just walked into my lap. So I'm of gratitude. Temporary unavailable. Yeah. And I got it from like Britain. It was so funny. You know, for right now, just get the PDF. If you can't find the PDF, email me because it's here. All right. If you can't find the PDF, talk to me. I'll get it for you. And I'll send you the link. Like, here's the PDF right here. I have the PDF right in front of me. Hold on. Chapter 1, Children with Power. I have the PDF right here. I got it from archive.org. You pay $73 on Amazon? That's good. What? What? I'm going to save the PDF, guys. If anybody wants it from me, just email me, tracybrownlive@gmail. Look at the scrolling. tracybrownlive@gmail. Take the PDF. Everybody wants to have the book. It's more about getting the knowledge. And this is one of those things where you get it when you can. Yes, you can download it from your laptop and print it out. Right. Or you could print out chapter by chapter. So let me see something. We could do it that way. So 1 through 35. Let's see. And I'm sure I'm not going to get through the whole chapter in one setting, right? I doubt it. So Children with Power, just download that and have the pages available to look at and put a clip on it, right? And then in 2 weeks, when we finish Children with Power, then you could print out the Medium's Way. Like, do it slowly. That way you don't see the cost. Or I have the PDF, everyone. So let me give you the PDF. It's going to be so exciting. I can't wait. I'm so excited to get through this book. By the way, this book I may have had I was in California at the time. When it was delivered to me, 2 years. I may have had it for 4 years. Yep. I just hold on to things and then I wait until God says, You must grow with your peoples. And I go, okay, I'll do it, God. Thank you, everyone. Conversations with God was very, I feel at peace. Does anybody feel at peace? This was good. This was good. And to Rhonda, who got volumes 1, 2, and 3, yeah, I may have to follow you. I may have to pick up 2 and 3 and just read it privately. I just feel like my growing, don't stop, won't stop type of thing. So I still love you guys. Don't forget, Company of Prophets. If you need me to help you with the PDF, I have it. Hold on a second. Why don't I just post the PDF? I'm so silly. Copying. I'll just post the PDF. Here's the PDF, everyone. Also, if you say something in the comment section here, I can just give you the link. YouTube shows links. Don't worry, Mother of Brats. Don't worry. I found it here. We're all good. We're all working together. All right. This isn't necessarily a link. You have to screenshot it and then type in the details, but this isn't too bad to type in the details. All right, guys. I'm so excited for next week. I'm so excited. Company of Prophets, African American psychics, healers, and visionary. I love you guys. Take it easy. Bye.
Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live.